Hey everybody, this is Derek for the Grumpy Guy Show, talking about episode number 107. We'll take your phone because we're old. Recorded on Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. Tonight's topics, subscriptions, and take the next left. No, the next left. Stick around, it's a pretty good episode. Good evening everybody, welcome to the Grumpy Guy Show. I'm Derek McAllister.
I'm Ryan McAllister.
So, for a change, we're back on a Tuesday night. Not that you know any difference, because I've been posting them still on Wednesdays, but it's been a time crunch on Wednesdays because I have to go into the office, which means I don't get home until a little bit later. You know, and by the time I get home, we're looking to eat, and you know, then we got to wait until after that before we record, and then right after that I got to sit down and start editing. Not that I'm doing a ton. However, it still takes time to do the editing and to export it and, you know, all that crap. So, It's good to be back on a Tuesday. I still kind of think I'd prefer us to get back to Mondays, but, yeah, Mondays are even more difficult, so.
Yep.
At any rate. So we got a full show. Brand new topic just added tonight. Don't know if you saw it or not, but, hey.
Ooh.
I
did.
We'll jump into this. So let's start out with the first topic there.
What do we got?
So to start off with, let's talk about subscription payments. Now everybody knows, you know, there's a huge issue with subscription hell, basically. I mean, where every company wants you to do a subscription, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about it. And, you know, one of the things that I did is I started looking, because of my photo editing, I started looking for something other than Adobe Creative Cloud, which, you know, most people, you think Adobe, as soon as you think about photo editing with Adobe, you start thinking about Photoshop. Well,
yeah.
It used to be that you could buy these products outright. And, you know, granted, you didn't get updates and all that other stuff, but you could buy it outright and use it until you needed some other thing that was in a newer version. Well, Adobe got rid of that. Everything is subscription-based with them. If you want to use an Adobe product, you cannot buy it. So, looking to get rid of subscriptions, obviously, you know, I started looking for alternatives. And I found one, you know, and because with Adobe, you get a discount if you pay for the full year at a time. I had done that at first when I started using it. So, you know, I figured, what the heck, I got a year. So I bought some other software. You know, I used the free trial so that I could make sure that it could do what I needed and what I wanted. And you know, then I bought it because Adobe subscription is $110 a year. This stuff, you know, and that's for the very basic that I needed. But this software it's normally $90. I got it on a sale for $80. You know, and it came with a whole bunch of stuff, including including the video editor that I've been using for the show. But, so, you know, I kept Adobe because I'd already paid for it. In worst case scenario, this software didn't work out and I could switch back easily. Well, luckily for me, you know, and I put a note in my calendar to give me a reminder to cancel the subscription to review things and see if I wanted to keep the subscription to Adobe or if I just was going to go with this other stuff.
Yeah. I
knew that mid-September, the Adobe subscription, you know, came to an end. I knew the date. I put myself a note. You know, I put a calendar reminder in there for like 2 weeks ahead of time. And then, you know, I was like, I was starting to review it, and I go in to Adobe Creative Cloud to cancel it, and I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell? They tried And, once I got in there, there was notices. They tried actually charging me a month early. I'm like, What the hell? So, the subscription ends in September. They tried charging me in August. Not, a couple of weeks ahead of time. We're talking at least a month ahead of time. They tried charging. Yeah. And the only reason it didn't work is because my credit card had expired. So I'm like, well, thank goodness the credit card expired. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think they would have given me a refund, and it would have really pissed me off. It pisses me off as it is that they tried, because that's not right. If, have it close. I mean, sure, you wanna talk to people and say, okay, well, your subscription ends on the 14th, on the 7th, 7 days before, we're gonna charge you for it unless you tell us otherwise. I get that. But an entire month? That's just ridiculous. And there's, I'm sure that there's others, other subscription services out there that do the same thing. It's just insane. I mean, you look at like T-Mobile, our T-Mobile bill. Our plan starts on the 4th of the month.
Yep.
They charge us on the 26th. That's not really that bad. I mean, it's not a month ahead of time. It's a couple of weeks. Okay, I get it. But a month. A freaking month.
A freaking month.
Yeah. I'm just like, seriously. It actually reinforced my decision to get away from Adobe's product. I mean, that's ridiculous. And a friend of mine talked to me about her. He said, well, the disadvantage of it is when you buy something, you're not constantly getting an updated product. Well, when you buy it, you get all updates to that product for a year. So, okay, I'm keeping that. And even if I decide at the end of that year that I want to buy the next version of their product, I can do that, and I'm still paying less than a 1-year subscription to Adobe. And this software does everything that I need it to do. So I don't get it. And I think so much of it is that people are just focused on, it's kind of like Google, Nobody says, oh, go and search the internet. They say, go Google it.
Yep.
And I think that's what it is with Adobe. Somebody says, oh, editing. Oh, editing photos. Oh, so you use Photoshop? No. And one of the photography communities that I'm in, I've posted that I'm using, I posted the product that I'm using, which, what the heck? It's AC/DC. I bought the ultimate package, which is what I needed to be able to do the editing of raw format photos. Not that not that you care, but at any rate.
I don't.
So I bought that, and in one of the photo communities I'm in, I've stated that, and people have asked me about it, and they said, they've said, well, I'm using this right now, and it's not Adobe, and it's like, wow, so many people are just so focused on, oh, you're using Adobe to edit. No. Obviously, there's millions of people out there that are using these other products. But you get the name brand, it's like, I mean, you think about it, and, when somebody says a photo has been edited, they say it's been photoshopped.
Yep.
I can do everything that, I mean, there's free software out there that can do the same thing, everything that Photoshop can do, but nobody says, well, they don't say I edited the photo. I photoshopped it.
No, you photoshopped it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's why Adobe thinks they can get away with it. Who knows? You know, there was some company that I don't know if they actually got through the purchase of it or not, but they were an upstart, you know, fairly new company. I mean, only a couple of years old, and they were starting to really take away some of Adobe's business. And Adobe decided to buy them because they couldn't make a product that was better. And the last I heard, it's been a while. I can't even remember the name of it or what it does. But the last I heard, the FCC was kind of pushing back of, you know, saying, well, you know, this is your competitor, so I'm not so sure. But, you know, typical of the FCC, that's really just it's really much more of a look, we're really sticking it to the man. You know, instead of the reality, which is, yeah, we're going to let you buy it. You know, I mean, they're supposed to protect us, but they don't. I mean, that's really all there is to it. They don't protect us. They protect themselves, and that's... Yeah, well. But anyhow. So that's probably...
At any rate.
It's probably enough bashing Adobe.
Yep.
So the next one. You were there with me.
Oh? Which one's this?
Yeah, so next on the hit list, we're going to talk about navigation apps. Now, again, everybody, you know, they pick one and everything is Google Maps, when it's not really. I've tried others, and they all do the same thing. They're so vague with some of their instructions, you know, and it's like...
Oh, yeah.
And it's not even just that maps... You know, these navigation apps are so vague. It's also the street signs. You know, it's like,
God.
I mean, so we were going in Syracuse. I was taking Ryan, dropping him off at a friend's house, and you know, it said, I don't even remember if it said. I'm pretty sure it said take the next left onto McDonald Street, and so I turned at the next left. And then it starts, you know, does this little bloom. It starts rerouting.
Recalculate.
Like, so
recalculating.
Yeah. So then we go around the block. We come back to the same stop sign. And we're like, oh well, apparently that wasn't McDonald's.
Yeah, Street. It says take the second left.
Yeah. You know, but the other thing is, when I went home, I said, well, screw this. I'm not using the stupid maps. I'm just going.
Huh.
I got home a lot faster than we got there.
Wow.
And why? Well, because I took a direct route instead of their stupid... I mean, we made about 10 different turns going through the city. Going home, Jeez. I made like 3. You know? So it's like, what the hell, Google? But like I said, it's not just Google Maps that does this. I've tried some other ones, and they all do this. You say you want the shortest route or the fastest route, whatever. It doesn't matter. You know, they're going to take you. They're not looking at, okay, this is maybe shortest and fastest, and you really got to put fastest in quotes. But you do so many stops and starts, and you get to so many stop signs where you could potentially have to sit there and wait, that it's not the fastest. You know, and they've got these, you know, they supposedly take into account, you know, getting a green route, you know, a route that's going to provide you the best gas mileage.
Yeah. Save the environment.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, the worst thing that you can do is start from a stop. So, I mean, for gas mileage, that's the worst thing that you can do. When you start from a stop, you are not... I mean, I don't care what you got as far as an internal combustion engine. You start up from a stop, that's where you use most of your gas. If you could actually... So my Jeep is rated for 32 miles a gallon on the highway, right? When I went up to your to drop something off for your brother up to Potsdam.
Yep.
I got almost 36 miles a gallon round trip.
Wow.
A lot of that's because when I got off of the highway, it was all 55 miles an hour with hardly any stops. In that time, I was getting, because I got gas just before I got off, just before the exit I needed to get off at. Yeah. So from that gas station to the college, most of it was 55 miles an hour, hardly any stops. I got over 40 miles to the gallon. That's how you get green. That's how you save gas. Not wandering through the back streets of, some little village that you could easily go around. Mm-hmm. It's staying at a steady pace where you can turn on the cruise control and just go. But, these navigation things, they don't understand that. And that's going to be a big problem when it comes to, the automated driving, the self-driving crap.
Yeah.
We're going to waste so much energy. And by energy, I mean, I don't care if you're talking about a gasoline engine or a diesel engine, any kind of internal combustion engine, or if you're talking about electric, or if you're over in Australia where they're experimenting with hydrogen.
That's interesting.
It doesn't matter what it is you're using. If these navigation apps can't get you there, with the fewest stops, it's not going to matter. It's not going to be all that great for the environment. But hey, what do I know? I'm not an engineer who's building things,
But hey, what do we know?
Yeah. I'm only somebody who drives and uses the tools that are available to see how poor the decisions are of these stupid companies.
Yep.
And of course it also ticks off all these people in these neighborhoods, because suddenly, somebody who you get, say there was like 15 or 20 of us headed to that same place. Well, now we got 15 or 20 of us wandering through these back streets, instead of the normal situation. I mean, there's places, I saw it on the news. There's some towns that are actually posting signs, please do not follow navigation suggestions, go around. I mean, it's because these navigation apps are just sending so many people through these stupid little, through these tiny little places and there's no reason for it other than, it's the fastest route. And for those of you who are listening, because understand somebody, they left a comment on YouTube saying that they prefer to listen, not watch. That was in quotes. Fastest was in quotes. But it's I don't know. It's a problem there is, because so often we have no clue where we're going. I mean, like this. I mean, yes, I grew up in the Syracuse area, but I don't go in the city that much. I never have.
Because the city sucks.
So I rely on it, and then get frustrated when it starts weaving me through all kinds of crap. I did that a few years ago. I went to a poker run with a four-wheeler up north. And on the way back home, I was like, you know what? I don't want to get on the highway. I just want to go, nice and slow on the way down, or on the way home. And, so I'm towing a 12-foot trailer. And it decides it wants to take me through the back streets of Watertown. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So finally, I just shut it off. I said, if I get lost, I get lost. I don't care. I mean, I'd like go 2 blocks and then have to turn. And it's not an exaggeration. I mean, Watertown is not a huge city, but I spent 20 minutes going through this stupid city just to avoid highways, when if it was smart it would have just left me, it would have told me to take State Route 26 south, because that would take me almost all the way home.
Yep.
Or it would have said, take US Route 11 south, which, again, would have gotten me almost all the way home. But no, it decided to send me through the freaking city.
I don't get it.
Yeah. But at any rate, the sad part is Google Maps is still rated the best by many, many
somehow
people. Well, that kind of tells you how bad the rest of them are.
Yep.
But all right, so let's go to our next topic. So everybody knows it's back to school time. We talked a little bit about back to school last year. Last year.
Did we?
Last week.
Last week.
Yeah, last week we talked about money. How much it was going to, the fact that it was going to be $1,100 for each student. Or, the average person was going to spend that. Yeah. Yeah, we talked about it. You were there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, so people get cell phones for kids.
Yep.
There's no question, once your brother started with band, we got him a cell phone. You had already had one at that point, I believe. But, because you were a little older. But,
yeah.
So people get their kids cell phones. Well, one of the school districts in the area has stated that, they've got new policies surrounding cell phones.
Oh, goody.
Yeah. And, their policy is that, students can't use cell phones during class. Totally get that.
Obviously.
But their policy also states that if your student's phone is heard or seen during class, they will confiscate it for the entire day.
That's excessive.
Yeah. And on top of that, if it happens a second time, they will confiscate it for the entire day and then require the parent to go in and pick it up.
That's stupid.
So here's my biggest problem with it. How many times have we had school shootings or whatever where students are the first ones to call 911? And it's not a bad
lot, I'm
thing.
Sure.
It's not a bad thing, because what that does is it allows the teacher to focus on getting the students to safety while somebody else is calling 911. So when you start talking about, somebody having a potential heart attack or whatever, and you get ready to do CPR, the first thing that they teach you to do is tell somebody to call 911 so that you can focus on that person. So that's the thing. The teacher's job is to keep the students safe. If the teacher is focused on getting the students to safety, then the teacher can't be calling 911. But let's look at this even further. Okay? If I'm paying for my child to have a phone so that I can get in touch with them when I need to, or if I'm using that phone as a way to track them, and you take that away and refuse to give it back to them, now you've just endangered my child. Not a good thing.
Yeah. That's a bad look.
Yeah. And not only that, seriously, these things are expensive. You get a cheap phone, you get a cheap phone, which, let's face it, folks, not many people are buying their kids the cheap phones because, they got to keep up with the Joneses crap. But you get a cheap phone and it's $250.
Which is surprisingly cheap.
Yeah, what happens if this principal or teacher or whoever takes this phone loses it? I could put money on it. The school's not going to pay for that phone. They're going to say, well, they shouldn't have had it.
Oh, they shouldn't have had it out.
Yeah. I get the whole thing. some of it is parents need to take responsibility. They need to teach their child, hey, it's not okay to pull your phone out in school. It's not okay to use it.
Yeah.
You know, you use it in between classes, you use it, study halls, lunch, okay. But you don't use it during class. And that's on the parents to actually teach that. And if they can't, okay, I get that. The principal or the superintendent needs to contact the parent and discuss that with them. Not take the phone away from the child so that the kid is, so that there's potential that the kid's in danger.
The kid can't contact their parents.
Yeah, they can't contact their parents. They can't contact, emergency services. I mean, seriously, there's so much wrong with this whole freaking idea. It just really irritates me. It's these schools thinking that I'm the boss. I'm in charge. I do what I want. No, you don't.
Yep.
But at any rate.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah. So, lucky for me, my kids are out of school.
One's pursuing higher education.
Yeah, he's in college, but professors. The only time a professor is going to care is if you're using it to cheat on an exam.
Exactly.
Other
In my
than that,
experience, the professor can't give two craps.
Yeah. And, the other thing is, it's not like they're taking the phones away from the teachers. What do the teachers do? Every time they get a chance, they look at their phones.
Exactly.
So, I mean, what you're saying is, okay, well, it's okay because they're an adult.
Yep.
No, it's not right.
They're not an adult, then no, they can't touch their phone at all.
Yeah, it's just not right.
And no one's allowed to contact them either.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's move on to the last topic that we got here. This is the brand new one I just added today.
All right, what's this?
All right, so there's been several celebrity deaths recently. And, of course, there's also all kinds of health issues with senators and whatnot. And the news feels that they must report on every little detail. So, Jimmy Buffett, he was like 76 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
He died.
Pretty much.
And, he was apparently battling skin cancer for 4 or 5 years, something like that.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, well, they had to report that.
Oh.
It was really important that they report that on the world news because that impacts everybody.
It does.
It's entertainment news, folks. And I mean, you look at his lifestyle. It doesn't surprise me that he had skin cancer. Okay, he was big on the beach, big on being in the sun. That kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, you can't really say much else about it. But then of course, Mitch McConnell and his freezing up, and we gotta talk to his doctors, and then we gotta talk to the White House doctors. Blah blah blah. Okay, well, the guy's 81 years old. And he just had a concussion. Duh. And then Bob Barker passed.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that he passed away.
99 years old. And, the news is just... They did it 4 times because, they do the first 15 minutes without any commercials, and then after that... It's every, they do one little story and then they do an ad and then another story and then an ad. 5 different times. Story. They teased, in quotes, folks, that, that they knew his cause of death. And I'm like, yeah, he was 99. Enough said.
It was probably old age.
Yeah, but... he, and then they finally came on, and it was revealed today that Bob Barker passed from Alzheimer's. All right, so stop there. I don't believe you actually pass from Alzheimer's. You pass as a result of something, like my grandmother passed because she stopped eating because her brain wasn't telling her that she was hungry anymore.
Yep.
That's a complication caused by Alzheimer's. It's not the actual Alzheimer's. But I mean, the guy was 99 years old.
Yeah, he had a full life.
Yeah.
He had some.
He had a full life. He enjoyed his life. And I mean, he did some good by talking about, spay or neuter your pet. That was an important message, and that's something that he really pushed and really believed in. But I don't understand the fascination as to why we have to know all this stuff. This is entertainment news, folks. You want to start talking about McConnell. All right, so that does impact people a bit. All right.
A bit.
However, they've talked about the same story with him for the last 5 days. He froze up in front of cameras 4 days ago. Okay, it was news then. It's not news now, folks. Just because some other doctor decided to look at him and came to the same conclusion doesn't mean that it's news.
Yep.
He's old. That's all there is to it. He's old. He's old. He got a concussion because he fell.
He's very old.
I mean, we really truly need to put some kind of limits on these politicians as far as their age, as far as the number of time, the amount of time they can serve, whatever.
Yep.
We need to do something about it because
or both.
We're going to have more instances like Dianne Feinstein and Mitch McConnell, and who's the one that recently passed in office who was old? I don't remember who it was.
I can't remember.
It wasn't all that long ago, and I mean, he was in his late 70s or something like that. The average lifespan of Americans is 77 years old. That should be enough said.
That's for men.
Yeah.
Women, it's 81.
Still. We shouldn't have somebody who's in her late 90s serving in Congress, or is she Congress or is she a Senate? I don't even remember.
Dianne Feinstein, and she's a senator.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's not that it really matters either. She shouldn't be serving at 96 years old.
No, she shouldn't.
I don't know. The unfortunate thing is, somebody might run on a campaign saying that, we need to put age limits in. And then once they get in there, they're going to realize, you know what? If I don't actually do that, then I can serve until I'm 96. Of my life. Yeah. And that's the problem. It's just like I said something about it before with Cruz. He put in something for term limits, except it made sure that he could serve until he didn't want to serve anymore.
Yep, and now he's running for a third term.
Yeah. Well, that probably happened because he lost the presidential bid the last time. So.
Yep.
Oh well. All right, folks. I'm sure you heard the music starting up.
That means good night.
We'll see ya.